In this video, I'm going to show you how I transform my client from this to this. Stay tuned for the video. What's good, y'all? It's Brazykuts, and today we back at it again with another video. So today for this haircut tutorial, we will be giving a mid to highish skin fade with a number 7 on top. Now my client's hair is pretty long, so let's get into this cut, man. So first off, we're going to start off by just combing out the hair, laying it in its natural path, just making sure that we don't find any places in his hair that twist or curl or spiral in wrong areas. And right now we're just going against the grain with our number 7, taking down the top. And after every time I do go over, I am combing his hair back into the way that it's laying, just because since his hair is so long, whenever I do go over with my guard, it tends to want to just stick up or not lay back to its natural path. And right now we're just going to be using our number 3 guard, and we're going to be taking down the bulk on the sides. And I typically always like taking down the bulk first before I do start any of my fading steps, just because it is a lot easier. It's a lot better, a lot clearer for me to see my canvas, so I can see if there's any indents, any spots where there's any patches, light areas, dark areas. It's just a better view for me. So always start by doing that. And now I'm going in with my skeletons, and I'm going to be making my first initial guideline right at the top of the ear, and I'm going to be dropping it just slightly towards the eyebrow once we get to the front area. And then now I'm going to be dropping it just a little bit right below the occipital bone. And the reason why this cut is going to be in between a mid and a high fade is because with my client, we've done a mid and a high fade on him before, and it just seems that the in-between fade in between both of the mid and the high just suits his head shape a little bit better. So just always be aware of your client's head shape and which fade suits their head shape a little bit nicer. So right now we're just finishing taking out all that extra bulk from underneath our first guideline. And right now we're going to be using our foil shavers, and we're going to be getting rid of that extra stubble right on the bottom. And typically what I like to do is I'll leave about 1/4 of an inch of stubble right underneath my guideline, and then I will start tapping down. That's basically going with the grain itself, and what it does, it just helps blend the foil shaver into that first initial guideline that we created. So that's just a nice little tip for y'all. Leave a little bit of space and then just tap down into it. And right now we're going with our no guard lever all the way open, and we're going to be creating our first section. And our first section is going to be about 1 inch wide. And we're making sure that we're laying our blade flat and we're getting it at as even as possible before we move forward. And right now we're closing our lever all the way, and we're bringing it up halfway in between those two guidelines. And what this is doing is we're already erasing that bottom line now. We're in the process of erasing that bottom line. And when we raise it up halfway, you're still going to see another guideline in the middle. So what we do now is we drop our lever halfway, and we just detail that middle line out, and it blends right into our top guideline. So that's my fading process. It's open to create, close the lever to take out that bottom guideline, and then drop the lever halfway to blend in between. And anything else on your lever is to detail. So any notches that are in between those is to detail your haircut. So now I'm going in with my number 1 guard, and we're all the way open, and we're doing the same thing, creating another inch of a section, making sure it's consistent, following through, laying it flat, and just making it as clean as possible before we move forward. Sorry for the quality here, guys. It got out of focus for just a little bit. And now I jump straight into my half guard, my 0.5 guard, and I'm all the way open. And now I'll start all the way open, and basically what I'm doing is I'm slowly, bit by bit, closing my lever. So now I close it up one notch, and I'm just going a little bit lower to where I first started, and I'm gonna keep doing that until I get all the way closed. So the more I close my lever, the lower I continue to fade. And I like fading this way, especially around my number 1 area, because it helps me control the darkness or the level of contrast within this area. Because sometimes when I would start close and raise it up, I would raise it up a little bit too high. So now when I start open and I slowly start dropping it, I still have the option to raise it up higher if I want to, because I started open. So now I can close it and bring it up even higher if I find that, you know, it's a little bit too dark in this area, or I still see some type of guideline. So that's just personally for me. And now I'm halfway, and basically that guideline's already coming out. So sometimes I don't even usually have to close it all the way for it to come out, but I still follow my same system and I stay consistent. And once again, always make sure to use your corners, guys. So important to use your corners. You don't want to use the whole blade, due to the fact because you might hit certain areas within your fade that you're not trying to hit or not trying to focus on. So just be mindful of that and stick towards the corners. And I really wanted to show you guys the process of the 1 area to the 0.5 area. I feel like it's the crucial blending part for a haircut. Everything is crucial, but I feel like this is the area where the contrast is really created the transition. So that's why I'm showing you the full depth of me taking it out. Okay, so now I'm going on with my number 2 guard. It's all the way open, and basically we're going to be fading down the rest of the haircut now. So we started 2 open, went 2 closed, and then we're going to drop it back down to our number 1.5, and then we're going to go back to our 1. So I call this like the sandwich method, and the reason why I like it is because also it helps me keep the level of contrast there. I get to control it. So now I'm on to my number 1.5. I start off open, and then I slowly drop it down notch by notch. And as you can see, my client's density with his hair is kind of all over the place. He has that really one dark, very patch of hair right by his hairline, and these are just things you have to be aware of when it comes to, you know, fading. It's not always going to come out perfect. The client's hair is not always going to be perfect, but you just got to roll with the punches. And you know, you got to know sometimes that you have to step outside your boundaries, and you're going to have to use other guards in certain areas, and that just comes with detailing, right? So once you go through your system once, it's never really going to be perfect, but detailing will just bring everything together. So now I just went back with my number 1, and we're just finishing this section off. We're just going to be detailing, finding any of the light spots, any of the dark areas that we see, and just refining everything a little bit more better. Okay, so now we moved on to the other side, and I'm going to be fast forwarding this just because it's basically the same steps that we did, starting off with the number 7, and now we went with our number 2, and now we're going with our bod line. And yeah, just basically following the same steps, man. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for, you know, staying consistent with this. If you guys have any questions, don't don't hesitate to send me a message on Instagram. Right now, still in Toronto, barbershops are still not open. It's been about 4 months since the shop has been open, and man, I miss it. I've been watching videos of tutorials and like barber vlogs and lifestyles, and it just makes me really realize how much I miss the shop and how much of the environment brought me happiness. For a lot of people, a lot of barbers have started cutting out of their basements recently, and I used to cut out of my basement too, but honestly, it doesn't compare to the barbershop. I don't know how you guys feel about barbershops, but if you find a barbershop where you feel like it's a team, it's a family, it's a love, man, there's no way I would choose cutting in the basement over cutting in the shop. And the way I built up my barbershop, it's family. Everyone that's there, we know each other, we love each other, and we just treat each other like we're each other's little brothers, big sisters, because I got a braider at the shop too. But yeah, man, it's been 4 months, and I missed the shop, guys. I missed the shop. But anyways, so we did the recent steps. We did the open, we did the number one with the 0.5. We just did our half guard, our 1.5 guard, and now we're back onto our number one, just detailing, making sure everything's clean. And now we're onto our lineup. So if you can see, his hair is pretty light on the sides. So we're just gonna be taking our time, starting in the middle and then working our way over to the lightest side. For me, it was the right side, so we work over to the right side, and now we just move over to the left side, doing the same thing. We're keeping it natural. We always start by keeping it natural, and then if we do feel like we need to adjust, then we will take down some. We can raise it up a little bit higher, but for the most part, we want to keep it as natural as possible. Constantly brushing, making sure, because sometimes when you do line somebody up, the hair tends to push away. And the same thing for our vertical bars. We are not making them as sharp as possible, because especially with his hair, it grows away, so it doesn't grow towards the lineup, so it makes it a lot harder to create a nice crispy line. So we want to keep it as natural as possible, and we will go back in and enhance that lineup just because it was requested. So now we're going in with our 245 no drip enhancements, and we're just going to be giving it a nice decent amount of spray. Nothing crazy, making it pop but making it look realistic at the same time. And I like to do spray by spray. I don't just like to spray it all at once, because I want to actually see the lineup come to life itself. My boy Sandro, he couldn't stop looking at the camera. This guy loves the camera. He's a model and actor, so he always be staring at the camera. So now we're doing the other side. And typically I like to make the top of the vertical bar darker, because that's where the darkest area is, and then it starts to get lighter. So that's just a tip. Start darker and then create it a little bit lighter. And now we're doing the razor. Stretching the skin, making sure we're getting good tension. Only using either the front or the heel of the blade. Remember that, guys, is crucial. You do not want to really use the full blade. You want to focus on a certain area, on a certain place. And once we do one side, we're going on to the next side. And I like to get the whole head. I don't just like to get the top of the lineup, just because there is so much little baby hair sitting on the front of his hairline. And if we can clear that out, it can make a nice little pop for the lineup itself, because there's a contrast to it. And for anybody wondering, this is a Turkish razor. I'll be leaving the link down below. So once again, this is how my client came in looking like. And boom, this is the final product, y'all. Thank you for sticking along. Thank you for watching me and continuing to follow the journey. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want next. I'm trying to keep pushing, y'all, so leave a comment down below and let me know what cut you'd like to see next, what video you'd like to see next. Thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in as always, and leave a subscribe down below, man. Take care, y'all. Till the next one.